You've worked with so many big stars, so many bands. You started with Pink Floyd, but then perhaps you are best known for the work that you've done with Oasis.
Yeah.
How did that all come about? Or was it just another assignment and then you clicked?
No, not quite that way at all, actually. I'd been trying to publish a book which ended up being The Moment. It came out in 1997. But in 1996, 96 I think it came. In 1995, I just started my real work with Oasis, and I thought I'd finally got a publisher, and I thought my book's going to get, it's like a diary from the Beatles to who's an up and coming band. Oasis, they seem an up and coming band. They seem to be doing very well. So I kind of arranged through the great journalist Daniela Suave, who told me about them, to photograph them at the Cambridge Corn Exchange to complete my book,
right?
Because it was about to go to press, and I was very intrigued by Oasis there. I mean, I'd already heard some of their videos; they were really, doing quite well, and I had to shoot this very strange band, this extremely exciting period of time. They were brilliant on stage, but nothing seemed to be happening. There was no leaping about. There was no bending over and doing guitar solos and going on your knees. I mean, it was just
laid back.
A bunch of lads, really. And then this incredible singer who would go and sit on the drum riser if he wasn't singing. It was just so much tension, and yet I was just intrigued. So I shot live shots. I thought, great, I can end my book. And the band were very enthusiastic. They were like, oh, you did this, you did pictures of this and that. We love all of that. So, that's great. I sent the pictures to the PR guy and said, thanks so much for organising that. And then he said, oh, the band loved these shots. Do you want to do a shoot with them in about 2 weeks' time when they're doing, video for, I think it was Live Forever? I said, oh, yeah, sure, I'll do that, yeah. And then the next thing, to my great joy, I hadn't done the Beatles because I'd been too young for that, but Oasis were my Beatles.
Yeah.
And they let me in and they let me do anything I wanted. And also I think I was useful to them because I was very experienced, so nothing fazed me particularly, and I was able to sort of enjoy it without, getting overexcited or...
You weren't judgmental of the rock and roll lifestyle because you'd seen it probably in much more excess than even they could.
Well, I've worked with punks, so if you work with punk, then you're not going to be too worried if somebody swears a bit or. But they had an unusual combination. There was a lot of punk in them, but they also had the lyrical side that came from prog rock. It was a very unusual mix, really. Especially as time went on and Noel became more sophisticated with orchestras, and so you had the Beatles, and it was just they were just wonderful to work with.
Yeah, we've seen, I think, in their work, like both Noel and Liam were hugely influenced by the Beatles.
Yeah, and the Sex Pistols. That's the Beatles and the Sex Pistols, and that combination, isn't it? You've
done so many memorable photographs of Oasis. With the team, this is perhaps one of our favourites, which is Liam at Glastonbury, and it's how did that shot come about?
This is a silver gel print. You can see it's a dry mounted print because it was made for the Was There Then exhibition. And it was their second, I think it might have been their second, I could be wrong, but it was their second Glastonbury appearance, June 95.
Yeah.
And they were on the main stage, so that was a bit of an honour for them. They was thrilled to be at Glastonbury, as Glastonbury was thrilled to see them. And I remember there was such a buzz about them at the time.
Yeah.
This is June 95, so it was really rocking by then.
Yeah.
And I also remember Robbie Williams, who was just about to go solo, sort of gate crashed the stage at one point. He was lurching about there with a bottle of beer and so on. And they were sort of dodging him as he sort of lurched about. It was all very comic, actually. That's how I remember it. It was sort of a tremendous amount of a great laugh, a great crack, as the Irish might say.
You say about obviously it was a fantastic experience, and you'd love taking photographs of them. But again, I think one of the really, really photographs which resonates with me is this one. And this is from Knebworth. It is just a photograph of the crowd, and I think it gives some idea of the scale of. I mean, I know we've seen helicopter shots and everything like that, but this just encapsulates just how massive Oasis had become, and I just think your photographs really emphasise that point. Was this just an idea you had, or how did you come about this?
Yes, I mean, the crowd was quite a sight.
Yeah,
and I knew that when the band came on stage, you may not be able to see them as clearly. So the time to take a picture of the crowd was, I think there was a band of Prodigy were about to go on, or they were in some of the shots. You can actually see the green hair of
Keith Flint
in the crowd, because he went in the crowd. So I thought if I did a joiner image, and the reason to do that is to get high quality frames and join them together, because when this picture was blown up for the Was There Then exhibition at about 3 meters, if you were there, you could actually spot yourself. And that's what the whole idea of it was that actually it would be clear enough that you could identify yourself. And Noel used a section of this for Familiar to Millions as the cover. And the original 3 meter version he had in his house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think he just, for him, you know, when you're on stage and all that, he probably went and looked at it a lot, because he was thinking, gosh, you know, these are the actual, you could individually see all the people that came.
Brilliant.
Main Road was a bit like that too, but this picture was also just the sheer volume, isn't it? It goes all the way off into the distance.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's just a sea of people.
It is a sea of people.
All of your other work, the artist or the group are in it. But this is not the artist, but it's equally as
it's their audience,
effective.
though, isn't it?
It's just there, and I think it shows just how massive Oasis had become and still are today. I mean, interesting if they were going to do Knebworth again, if you would get a similar shot, and it would be the sort
They'll all
of
have grey hair,
1996 to 2025. Yeah, they'd all have grey hair.
And they'll have phones.
And Zimmer. Well, that's the thing. I mean, you must have seen all of that come through.
Yeah.
From when you started, and it's, but you know, I keep photos on my phone. I know the team at Prop Store have all got photos on, but there's nothing that beats these physical prints and stuff that's just tangible that you can pick up and look at. And as I say, this is one of my favourites, and I'm sure if you were in the audience at Knebworth on the 10th of August, then this possibly could be the print for you.
I think that's the drummer and the Prodigy there, actually.
Just doing his check.
So, yeah, so that's sort of times when it was actually shot, was while the Prodigy were playing.
Well,
there we go.
Thank you for your time today, Jill.
It's been a pleasure.
I've loved talking about this, and I'm, as I say, I'm so proud that we're going to be offering just a small portion of the Rock Archive in our November auction, and hopefully there'll be many more auctions of what really is just some wonderful work from Jill and also all the photographers associated with Rock Archive.